What's bacon fam, it's your boy Shankamuffin here, and welcome to my guide on how to get Ecumenical Keys. As always with my guides, here is a section for the table of contents. Please skip to the section that you wish to watch. Alright, it's been up enough, let's continue forward. Ecumenical Keys are basically keys that allow you to skip kill count at the God Wars dungeon in order for you to immediately access the boss rooms. These are a great piece of items if you are looking to do Commander Ziliana and Kriara, since their kill count time takes way too long to acquire. Also, these keys are great to have because if you die in one of the boss rooms, because you can skip kill count, you can immediately go back in there and reclaim your items. Be aware though that where we are going, this location is in the wilderness, so don't bring anything you're not willing to lose. Okay, since there is a huge range of items for the potential gear that you can bring, I'll just include all the levels required here. There will be a more in-depth description as to what items need what levels later on in the gear setup section. First and foremost, you will need to have either 60 strength or 60 agility. You cannot access the Wilderness God Wars dungeon if you don't have these levels. You will need either 46, 70, or 75 range. You will also possibly need 40 magic. For melee combat, it can be any of the current levels that you have right now. Finally, in prayer, all you will need is level 40. Alright, let's move on to the recommendations. Having 75 ranged is best. You get access to the blowpipe as well as all variations of God Dehides, which makes you have a much easier time mixing and matching your gear setup. Also, having 43 plus prayer is helpful since you have access to all the protection spells now. Finally, having the Wilderness Achievement Diary rewards unlocked gives you access to more and more Ecumenical Keys that you can store. Without the diary, it's only a maximum of 3. At the medium diary completion, a maximum of 4. And finally, at the hard completion, a maximum of 5. Let's move on to the gear setup. Let's get into your gear setup. Gear setup is going to be wacky and wonky because you'll be mix matching everything in order to represent all 4 of the gods. So try to find the best combination for yourself. For your Saradomin piece, you can use a Saradomin's Coif, but this requires 70 range and 40 defense. Or the cheapest method would be to use a Holy Symbol, Monk's Robes, or a Saradomin's Mitre. The Mitre requires 40 prayer and 40 magic. For your Zamorak item, use an Unholy Blessing. It's the best choice due to how fairly often people go to God Wars Dungeon. If you don't want to use this, try an Unholy Book, Zamorak Vambraces, an Unholy Symbol, or a Zamorak Monk Top. The Unholy Symbol is your cheapest option. For your Bandos item, go with a Bandos Cloak. It is one of the cheapest and requires no levels to wear. If not this, go with a Bandos Stole, which requires 60 prayer, or a Bandos Vambraces. This requires 70 range and 40 defense though. Finally, for Armadillo, the cheapest and least expensive item to use is the Armadillo Pendant. This is unlocked in the Temple of Ikov quest. If you don't have access to this, then use an Honorable Blessing, Armadillo Cloak, Armadillo Coif, which requires 70 range, and Armadillo Mitre, which requires 40 prayer and 40 magic. As a personal favorite, I like to use the Armadillo D'hide Boots, which requires 70 range and 40 defense, or Armadillo Vambraces, which also require 70 range and 40 defense. For the rest of your gear, either go with an Amulet of Glory if you have that slot available, the Lumbridge Ring for your ring slot, and the best D'hide so long as you can wear them. The reason for the Lumbridge Ring is it gives some prayer bonus, and it's really not terrible at all to lose because it's very easy to reclaim. For your weapon, bring the best crossbow you can have. If you remember earlier in this video, I said 46 range because that gives you access to the adamant crossbow, but if you don't want to use that crossbow, feel free to use the rune crossbow, but the best ranged weapon to use is the blowpipe. Just make sure you have the appropriate levels for those weapons. For melee weapons, you can bring anything you want, so long as you don't mind losing it if you get PK'd. For your ammo for your ranged weapons, bring anything that you can afford. Really, it doesn't really matter, so long as it's cheap enough that you don't mind losing it. Like I said before, it's very difficult to determine which gear to bring since people will be mix and matching everything. Hopefully you get an idea as to what to bring, and it's pretty helpful. Let's move on to the inventory setup. For your inventory, bring a potion that boosts your combat stats. So if you're meleeing, use a super combat potion. For ranging, bring a ranging potion. Bring 3 Sarah Brews in case of PKers, 2 restores for those Sarah Brews as well as prayer restoration, a stamina potion so that you can run out and get away from your aggressors, the teleport that you used in order to get to the dungeon, and the rest of your inventory for food and combo eating food. Leave 2 or 3 spaces empty for your keys so that you can fit them in there. Now that we have our inventory completed, let's learn on how to get there. Alright, there's actually a lot of ways to get to the dungeon. I'll include all the ways, but I will only be showing you the route through the teleportation that I use. You can use the Cemetery Teleport tab, which teleports you to the Forgotten Cemetery. Run east and you'll come to the entrance. The Dariak Teleport tab is also another option, which brings you west of the Bandit Camp and south of the Forgotten Cemetery. Run northeast and you'll be at the entrance. The next teleportation method is the Game Necklace. Teleport to the Corporal Beast, and at that point, just run out of the cave and run west and you'll see the entrance. Next up is the Waka Canoe, which is accessed via Edgeville. You run southwest as soon as you're done with your journey on the canoe, and you'll come across the entranceway. I personally don't recommend this method as because it's a little deeper in the wilderness, and you may not have the woodcutting level requirement. Finally, my method that I use the Burning Amulet teleportation to the Bandits camp. Once at the Bandit camp, run west, and as soon as you bend around the curve, go directly north. As you keep running, you'll eventually come to the cave entrance within about 15 seconds after the teleportation. Once inside, run south, squeeze through the passageway, only if you have the 60 agility requirement, or you could run northwest to push the boulder, and that will be accessed via 60 strength requirement. Once in the dungeon, attack all of the low-level creatures. They all have the same drop rate for the key, making it suitable and optimal to attack these specifically low-level monsters. Your best way to get these keys is to kill the following monsters: imps, goblins, pyrofiends, and ice fiends. Don't attack Aviancies as they don't drop the key. Also, a really important tip: there is a timer for when you can obtain a key. Once a key is dropped, a 2-minute timer is added, blocking you out of receiving a key from that 2-minute period. To avoid this, just hop worlds. Be aware that this is in the wilderness, so please keep an eye out for PKers. Try to escape as best you can from where you entered. Good luck with your adventures, everyone. This is the end of the guide, and I hope you found it very helpful. Anyways guys, if you'd like to join a Discord server and talk with like-minded individuals as well as talk with me directly, feel free to join. The link is down in the description below. Anyways guys, my name's Shankamuffin. I'm signing out. Please enjoy this outro.